Hello everyone and welcome to Trending Topics Live, the video interview series where we explore the trending topics of the day. We have a special edition today in which we will be exploring corporate innovation with special focus on fintech. With the recent pandemic-related events, many businesses accelerated their digital transformation and innovation efforts and are reaching out to the flexible, disruptive, and in some cases more affordable startup ecosystem. Corporate acceleration and corporate innovation are terms that sound great on paper, yet sometimes from what we've heard, don't really work in the best possible way and could be quite challenging. So we want to dig deeper into what the challenges are and how to make it, how corporates approach this to make it easier for startups to swim in the corporate procedure ocean. And therefore, we've invited two guests from Raiffeisen Bank International. So Raiffeisen Bank International has recently announced its next edition of the Elevator Lab program for fintechs with analytics and loyalty solutions, with a totally new design that features also paid proof of concept in Bulgaria and Romania. So we are going to be talking to Istvan Kovacs, who is the Senior Strategic Partnerships and Ecosystems Manager at Raiffeisen Bank International, and Yoanna, Genova, the Innovation Manager at Raiffeisen Bank Bulgaria, and we are going to be exploring their approach a bit more. So without further ado, hi guys, happy to have you. How are you doing?
Hi, very good.
Hi Alex,
Thank you
I'm
for
very
having
happy to be here.
Me too, and quite excited to dig a bit deeper. So let's start right away. So Istvan, this year Elevator Lab comes with a new design for this region in particular that guarantees 4 or 5 months of paid POC with 2 selected fintech startups. And this almost sounds like too good to be true. Where's the catch? And what does the POC process actually look at Raiffeisen? And what have been the major challenges so far that made you launch this year's program in this new form?
Thank you very much, Alex. So there have been a couple of questions. I would like to take them one by one. Let me start maybe what was kind of the reasoning and the thinking behind to a little bit, replan this program. What we have seen in the past is that although in many cases the business lines are very interested to run a proof of concept with the fintech, they cannot commit their resources, both business side and IT sides, on a very short term. Let's say at the final stage when there are the fintech startups, because they have their daily work and they have also other ongoing projects. So this year we a little bit spin it around and having a focus topic that we agree on in advance, and also coming up with the individual timelines for the network banks gives the necessary time to prepare in advance for the business lines so they can commit their resources and also the IT resources. So this was the governing thought behind. And when you said about the catch, well, the thing is, the main goal why we actually started this program is to really build up meaningful partnerships between fintechs and the bank. And for that, the first major milestone is really to do a pilot project. And the Elevator Lab gives all the necessary framework for that, so that there's a selection, there's first an application phase when the startups apply, then the necessary selection phase where actually mentors from both countries and also from head office look at the applications, and then finally the third phase, which is the acceleration phase when we run the pilot project. And of course, if it proves successful, there's the possibility to scale up. And regarding the financing, we believe that it's quite essential to actually commit to a funded POC, because the fintechs put the necessary effort there, and this should be appreciated. And in our experience, also to commit both sides, it's a meaningful and it's necessary to make the proof of concept funded.
Right, I absolutely agree that it is so. So, Yoanna, what about Bulgaria? What is your experience so far, and what have been the major challenges / blockers for you to work with startups and launch new solutions?
We have already conducted 2 batches of Elevator Lab, so we have, I would rather say, accumulated some experience on that part. And what came up like major challenges for us in terms of collaboration with fintechs and startups was mostly the legal frame. And I can tell you that, you know, it's pretty obvious banking and financial sector are the most heavily regulated ones. So that inevitably poses lots of restraints for us. And, you know, this experience that we have accumulated so far is incredibly important for us in order to provide us the necessary skills so that we can actually, you know, go around within the legislations and be able to actually proceed with and launch new products. So, you know, this year we are going through agile and digital transformation, which also help us out improve our setup internally, upgrade our systems, and actually integrate a new mindset within the organization, which turns out to be also extremely important. So those changes and our endeavors into the Elevator Lab program are actually our tools and means to be able to launch and upgrade our product, you know, and customer experience, most importantly. So what we have done so far, we have been able to collaborate with Evertrust, who are incredibly important and significant for us because they're in the core of 2 of our digital solutions, which is our digital onboarding process and also the e-loan. So this is, you know, for a good technological enablement for our customers, something that they are very much looking towards. We have also successfully collaborated with Log Sentinel, with Pisano, who are a global finalist of the Elevator Lab. Actually, we are working, partnering with Pisano also on a group level. And we are right now also testing with FOSS, with Mainetics, for our last year's finalists. And you know, it doesn't end here. I mean, last week we also launched RaiConnect, which is a platform for consultancy and digital exchange of documents. And it is actually also a result of collaboration with Moxtra, who is also a startup from Elevator Lab. So it takes its time, but we are working towards that and very much looking forward.
Right. What I really like about this program is that it has a fixed time frame for the POC, and I think that's quite important here. But before we talk a bit more about that, Istvan, actually, why pilots in these 2 domains, analytics and loyalty, with exactly these 2 subsidiaries in Bulgaria and Romania?
Well, as already actually touched by Yoanna, both actually Raiffeisenbank Bulgaria and Raiffeisenbank Romania have been very, very active when it comes to fintech programs, when it comes to fintechs acceleration and partnerships right from the start. So both countries have not only ran programs in the previous years, 2019 and 2018, but actually both of the countries very much pioneered in coming up with new forms and new types of the programs. So to give you a concrete example, last year we came up with a program called Elevator Lab Bootcamp, and Raiffeisenbank Bulgaria, as the only country actually in the group, ran even 2 programs last year. One, Elevator Lab Bootcamp, focusing on the local early and seed stage startups, and Elevator Lab Challenge, which focused on the more mature startups with a developed product and possibly also already partners. And as also very well said by Yoanna, this gives us a bit of confidence and, you know, experience from the previous years. So this year it came sort of a naturally to take a further step, and this year first of all join forces on the 2 countries that are very experienced and sort of open up the program and invite startups from all around the globe. And when we talk about the domain, so basically the topics, why analytics and why loyalty solutions for companies, basically the approach was that first the host countries, so in this case Bulgaria and Romania, come up with the so-called most burning topic, which is the most interesting topic that they would like to look for fintechs globally and host it. And as a second step, we in the head office, we did sort of a sanity check to make sure with the business lines here that this topic has a group-wide relevance. So in case, these proof of concepts with winners prove successful, we can scale it up because there's enough interest in the group. And since both these criteria were checked, we are here and we are open. We have an open call and we are looking for fintechs in these two domains.
Why would a startup want to pilot in one of those two subsidiaries of RBI? And what makes the new design of Elevator Lab better? And what are the USPs of Bulgaria and Romania in particular?
Okay, that were three questions.
Yeah.
I'll start with the first one. So to begin with, RBI and the group entity in Austria, it does not service personal individuals and micro customers. So inevitably, any fintech that wants to scale and to enter into retail, they should inevitably go to the network banks. So I'm sorry if that's bad news, but this is how it is. So apart from that, this year, we are focusing into also collaborating with Romania, and I do believe this is a very big proposition for the fintechs, because we are actually giving the opportunity to enter into two markets, and this is for any company that wants to accelerate, to grow. I haven't heard of better news. So. The main idea is that we launch the POCs into the two countries, but the selection process does not happen only on the side of Bulgaria and Romania, but also with the kind assistance of our colleagues from head office. So we basically give a 360-degree overview, and we check the fintechs, from any aspect possible. So, okay, this year we have the focus of corporate and advanced analytics, loyalty solutions, but next year it might be different. Most probably it will be a retail topic. Apparently we are to especially combined major markets in the area. We together serve more than 180,000 customers. So I believe this is a very good challenge for any fintech. I think it's some sort of a proof also for themselves, whether they have the capabilities to scale, whether they can actually, provide the service that we need. So I think that's a very good stress and reality check for any fintech. And eventually, I do believe this is a good entrance into the group, because afterwards, any other country that wants and is interested in the solution will come to us and ask us, how did it go? What can we do? And it's very valuable to have this, exchange of information, of experience. And I think it's also beneficial not only for the fintechs, because this is feedback that you cannot get every day. So from that perspective, I think it's very positive and beneficial.
Right. You're ready to invest quite a lot in this relationship and in the whole innovation program. But what do you expect in return? What are your expectations towards startups, and what behaviors, preparation, attitudes are accepted well and what not? Istvan, probably you could answer that.
Absolutely, I'm happy to answer. So it's collaboration, it's proactivity, it's learning, and finally it's responsibility. These are the four key values that we share across the RBI group, and eventually these are also the key values that we also appreciate and sort of expect from our partners. So having said that, obviously on top of a very strong use case that we both parties believe that can work on, we expect fintechs that actually are collaborative and to be proactive in this sense, to actually, move forward and work towards our mutual goal that we set in the beginning, as well as we expect them to learn, because obviously working with such a big banking group would also definitely bring them learning benefits. So we would like them to be open for learning, and obviously finally the responsibility, we would like them to be responsible for what we achieve in the POC, and responsible with working with us, and eventually also towards the whole society.
Right. And Yoanna, what do you think? Are there any specifics in regards to region? This year, the Romanian and Bulgarian teams will be more engaged in the selection and piloting. Do you think they have different expectations?
That's a very good question, actually, because initially we started our collaboration on very general terms, and when we started digging into our needs, we found out that they actually coincide more or less. And here it's very important to mention that we will have 2 winners, which means at least 1 fintech per country. So this gives, I think, double chances for success to our applicants. From that perspective, I don't think that we would have any challenge into selecting who will be the winner. Every bank will have the chance to pick for themselves. We have engaged a big number of mentors, as I said previously. We have engaged colleagues from a wide variety of departments, and in this way we guarantee objectivity into the selection, and also that we actually end up with fintechs that have solutions applicable for us, because this is very important. And we found out into the course of the previous batches that even though sometimes we get very inspired and very excited about certain solutions, then we have to face reality, and we have to call the IT guys, and we have to go to the legal department. And it's very important that we keep those things from the very beginning, that we know where we are heading, and that we are absolutely ready after the finals day in the end of September, that October until January we are going to be in full motion and ready to test.
Right. I think that's very important, that everyone will be engaged. Not everyone, but many different roles and experts will be engaged from the very beginning. I definitely know it from you, especially from last year, what were the challenges, and I think that's definitely a solution. Okay, guys, one last question to wrap it up. Istvan, what do corporations and corporate managers and employees outside the innovation team, and that's very related to what we were talking about, think about corporate innovation efforts, and how is this perception changing in the past years, and most recently with the new normality, of course?
Thank you. It's a very great question. I appreciate that. I would say that the perception has definitely changed over the last 4 years. Since we started the program, it was 2017 when we ran the first batch of the Elevator Lab program. And indeed, in the very beginning, for many of the colleagues of the units, it was a little bit, so to say, a science fiction, how actually, small, innovative startups can actually bring really benefit and tangible benefit to the bank and essentially to our clients. But after the first success stories came in, and now I'm thinking of company with the K in Vienna, as well as Evrotrust in Bulgaria. People, colleagues in the bank started to grasp the idea and really understand, okay, well, now I get it, why this really brings benefits to us. In some cases, even to the internal employees, like working with such enhancement could really make their daily life easier, but eventually also towards our customers that actually use our banking services. So I would say it has definitely changed. And what also makes me convinced in that is what we see in the last years is this kind of a pull approach. So it's not us going to them and saying, hey, do you want to participate? Do you want to work with fintechs? But it's them pulling us and saying, hey, actually, I would love you to look into this and that topic. What kind of fintech solutions are out there? Or what we also see in the head office is that more and more countries, network banks coming to us and say, hey, I want to be in the program. I want to be in the Elevator Lab program. Do it something locally or actually be a part of the group-wide program. And I'm very proud to say that this year, 2020, despite all the adverse circumstances, we have 12 out of the 13 network banks that actually participate in one or the other form of the Elevator Lab program. So I consider it as a major success. And furthermore, this recent, absolutely unfortunate COVID-19 situation, I would say shed the light again on the importance of digitization, on the importance of remote accessibility. Two of the components that actually have been part of the Elevator Lab programs from the start, because that's where really fintechs can help us in many cases. And eventually, this program has gained now more relevance to build up these partnerships externally that eventually can help us, the RBI group, with all the network banks in our innovation digitization effort to ultimately transform this continuous information into superior customer experience.
With that, yeah, thank you so much, guys, for giving us this overview of how Raiffeisen Bank looks at startups and what are the process like. For everyone who is building analytics or loyalty solutions, make sure to check the link below. And in case interested, apply before the 26th of June. We'll make sure to link one more article where you can learn a bit more about the timeframes and the structures. We have explained them already. With that, thank you, Yoanna and Istvan, and everyone who's watching us and considering to apply for the Elevator Lab this year. Good luck to the both sides in producing success stories that we'd love to cover.